Success is never a solo journey. According to Napoleon Hill, the people you associate with can either fuel your desire for greatness or quietly extinguish it. Your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your actions are deeply influenced by the mental environment you choose to immerse yourself in. If you're serious about achieving your goals, there are certain types of individuals you simply cannot afford to keep close. They may not wear a warning label, but their impact on your mind and ambition is very real and very dangerous. Toxic thinking, when your mental environment determines your destiny. Success does not begin with money. It does not begin with opportunity. It does not even begin with talent. It begins, very quietly, in the mind. Napoleon Hill, one of the most influential thinkers on success and achievement, devoted his life to understanding what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. What he found was simple, yet profound: thoughts become things. Hill's most powerful insight was this: the dominating thoughts you hold in your mind will eventually manifest into reality. That includes your desires, your fears, your doubts, and your dreams. But here's the catch: those thoughts are not born in isolation. They are shaped, influenced, and often infected by the people you surround yourself with. This is why your mental environment, the emotional and intellectual company you keep, can determine whether you rise or fall. Think about it: we become like the people we spend the most time with. Their opinions echo in our heads. Their fears creep into our hearts. Their limitations begin to feel like our own. Hill called this phenomenon autosuggestion, the process by which your subconscious mind absorbs the thoughts repeated to it, whether they come from you or from others. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, by doubt, by small thinking, then no matter how big your dream is, it will be slowly chipped away until you forget why you even started. That's why the first and perhaps most important step towards success is this: clean your mental environment. You must treat your mind like a garden. You can plant seeds of ambition, belief, and persistence, but if you allow weeds of doubt, fear, and cynicism to grow, they will choke the life out of your dreams. And those weeds often come in the form of people. You may know these people already. They are not necessarily evil or cruel. In fact, many of them think they're helping you. They'll say things like, "Are you sure that's realistic? Don't get your hopes up too much. Why don't you just settle for something safe?" They mean well, but they are projecting their own fears, their own disappointments, onto you. Hill warned against this. He said you must protect your mind from outside influences that sabotage your faith in yourself. This doesn't mean you must cut everyone off or live in isolation. But it does mean that you must be intentional. Surround yourself with people who believe in growth. People who challenge you to think bigger. People who remind you what's possible. Hill called this the mastermind, a group of individuals who align in harmony to create an environment of shared strength and purpose. But before you can build a mastermind, you must first remove the voices that poison your mental soil. This is not always easy. It may require difficult conversations. It may even require distance from people you've known your whole life. But the truth is, you cannot grow in an environment that keeps you small. Let me give you an example. Imagine a young man with a dream to start his own business. Every night he reads books, watches videos, and plans his future. But every day, he spends time with people who laugh at his ambitions. They tell him he's wasting his time. That is not special. That most businesses fail anyway. Over time, their words start to feel like truth. His energy drops. His enthusiasm fades. Eventually, he convinces himself they're right, and the dream dies quietly. Now imagine another young man with the same dream, but he surrounds himself with people who are building, learning, and pushing themselves. They ask him what progress he's made. They challenge him when he hesitates. They celebrate his small wins. Over time, their belief reinforces his own. His vision grows. He takes risks. He fails, learns, and tries again. Eventually, he succeeds, not because he was more talented, but because he protected his mental environment. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Your results are the product of your thinking. Your thinking is the product of your environment. Napoleon Hill believed that faith and desire are the cornerstones of success, but they are fragile. They can be destroyed in a weak environment. That's why guarding your mind is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So, let me ask you, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? What kind of energy do they bring into your life? Do they push you toward growth, or pull you toward comfort? Do they celebrate your wins, or diminish your ideas? Do they talk about possibility, or complain about problems? Your answers to these questions are not just reflections of your current reality, they are predictors of your future. If you want to succeed, start here. Audit your environment. Pay attention to your conversations. Eliminate passive negativity. Distance yourself from constant doubters. And actively seek out voices of belief, ambition, and wisdom. Because if you don't, your goals will be surrounded, not by support, but by sabotage. And it won't be dramatic. It will be slow, quiet, and invisible. One tiny compromise at a time. One maybe they're right at a time. Until one day, your dreams will feel too far away to chase, and you won't even remember why you gave up. But it doesn't have to be that way. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not defined by the people around you unless you allow yourself to be. Choose better. Surround yourself with those who fan the flames of your ambition. Protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. As Napoleon Hill once wrote, deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act on building the life you desire. That is where success begins. Not in luck. Not in timing. Not in talent. But in your thoughts and the people who shape them. The people who spread fear. There is one silent enemy of success that Napoleon Hill warned us about more than any other. It is not poverty. It is not lack of education. It is not even failure. It is fear. Fear is the invisible chain that holds back more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. And according to Hill, fear doesn't always originate from within us. Often, it's injected into our minds, subtly, gradually, by the people we associate with every day. In Think and Grow Rich, Hill identifies 6 basic fears that control most people: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. But what he also makes clear is that these fears are not natural. They are learned. They are transmitted, like a virus, through suggestion, influence, and repetition. Now ask yourself, who are the people in your life constantly suggesting fear? You may not even notice them at first. They don't walk around warning you with red flags. In fact, many of them appear to be well-meaning. They say they're just being realistic. They tell you they care about you. But underneath their concern lies something more dangerous: a lack of belief in you, in possibility, and in the power of faith. You tell them about your dream to start a business, and they respond with, "That sounds risky. Don't quit your job just yet. What if it doesn't work out?" You share a vision for a bold project, and they answer, "Why would anyone care about that? Isn't that already too competitive?" You might be setting yourself up for disappointment. Now, they may not be trying to sabotage you intentionally. But that doesn't change the effect. Every time you hear those words, your subconscious mind, what Hill calls the fertile field of thought, absorbs them. And slowly, silently, your confidence starts to erode. Doubt creeps in. Action slows. And eventually, fear takes control. Napoleon Hill believed that faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. When fear enters, faith leaves. When fear speaks louder, belief goes quiet. And if you are surrounded by people who constantly reinforce fear, you will never have the mental freedom required to pursue success. This is why Hill emphasized the importance of guarding your mind from outside influences. He compared the human brain to a radio receiver. It is constantly picking up frequencies from the environment around it. If you are surrounded by fear-based thinkers, you will start to vibrate on their level. You will begin to make decisions from a place of scarcity instead of abundance, from hesitation instead of boldness. But it doesn't stop there. Fear-based people don't just doubt your goals, they are often threatened by them. Your ambition reminds them of everything they've given up on. Your courage highlights their complacency. So instead of supporting your growth, they try to anchor you in place. Not with hostility, but with quiet discouragement. They'll call it love. They'll call it concern. But it's fear, dressed as protection. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine a young woman named Sarah. She wants to move to a new city and start her own design studio. She has talent, vision, and passion. But her family constantly says things like, "It's expensive out there. Are you sure you're ready? You might want to wait until things are more stable." Every time she hears this, it's not just a sentence, it's a seed of fear. And if those seeds are repeated enough, they take root. Sarah delays her decision. She questions her abilities. 1 year passes. Then 2. And the dream? It withers. Now contrast that with another young woman, Emily. She has the same ambition. But she surrounds herself with a different kind of person. Her friend says, "You've got this. I'll help you brainstorm. What's your first step?" That voice doesn't plant fear, it plants faith. One word of encouragement can outweigh 100 words of doubt, if you hear it often enough. This is why your circle matters. Not just for emotional support, but for the mental environment they create inside you. You must ask yourself, are the people around me feeding my faith, or feeding my fear? And if the answer is fear, then it's time to make a change. This doesn't mean you have to confront everyone who doubts you. It doesn't mean cutting ties in anger or isolation. But it does mean drawing boundaries, mental, emotional, and sometimes physical. It means spending less time with voices that drain your belief, and more time with voices that expand your vision. Napoleon Hill taught that autosuggestion, the repeated messages we feed our subconscious, was a key to unlocking our potential. But if you let other people feed your mind with fear-based suggestions, you're letting them write your future. So be intentional. Seek people who think with courage. Spend time with those who see possibility instead of danger. And limit your exposure to the fearful, for their fear is contagious. As Hill wrote, "The mind becomes powerful only when it is directed toward definite ends with strong belief. Fear weakens that power. Fear distracts from that purpose. Fear kills belief before action ever begins." But here's the good news, fear loses power the moment you stop listening to it. And it loses even more when you stop surrounding yourself with people who spread it. So let this be your decision today. You will no longer let the fear of others become the soundtrack of your mind. You will choose faith over fear. You will choose courage over caution. And most of all, you will choose to walk with people who light your fire, not those who dim your light. Because success does not live in the hearts of the fearful. It lives in those who protect their minds and feed their faith. The people who kill your belief. If there is one force more powerful than talent, more necessary than resources, and more important than intelligence on the journey to success, it is belief. Belief is the ignition switch of achievement. It is what gives a person the courage to begin and the endurance to persist. Belief is the spiritual fuel that carries you through obstacles, critics, and temporary defeat. As Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's the critical part many ignore. Belief is fragile. Especially in the beginning. When you're just starting out, when your dream is fresh, your confidence uncertain, and your success unproven, belief is like a candle in the wind. It burns with potential, but it can be extinguished with a whisper. And the most dangerous whisper comes not from strangers, but from the people closest to you. These are the people who kill belief. They don't necessarily do it with cruelty. They do it with cynicism. With sarcasm. With backhanded comments and subtle doubt. They say things like, "Oh, that's cute. Let's see how long that lasts." Don't get your hopes up too high. Maybe you should try something more realistic. And suddenly, a dream that once felt alive starts to shrink. Not because it was impossible, but because someone you trusted didn't believe in it, and you absorbed that disbelief. Napoleon Hill taught that faith is developed through autosuggestion, the repeated planting of positive thought into your subconscious mind. But here's the trap: if you're constantly around people who speak doubt, discouragement, or small thinking, their belief system becomes your autosuggestion. Let's be honest, human beings are not immune to influence. We crave validation. We seek feedback. And when the people around us disapprove of our dreams, that disapproval often echoes louder than our own inner voice. Think back to when you were a child. You probably believed you could do anything. You wanted to be an astronaut, an inventor, a leader, an artist. You had limitless belief. But what happened? Somewhere along the way, someone laughed. Someone told you no, someone said you weren't good enough. And a small piece of belief was lost. Now fast forward to adulthood. You've matured. You've learned. You've grown. But the truth is, you're still just as vulnerable to belief killers, especially when they disguise their doubt as wisdom. Make no mistake, these people are everywhere. They're the coworker who snickers when you talk about your side hustle. The friend who always has a realistic reason why your plans won't work. The family member who reminds you of all the things you failed at in the past. Some do it out of jealousy. Your belief makes them uncomfortable because it highlights the belief they abandoned long ago. Others do it out of fear, they're afraid for you, so they try to protect you by lowering your expectations. But the result is always the same: they make you question yourself. And when you begin to question your belief, you weaken your power. Hill calls this the death of desire. When belief dies, desire loses its energy. And when desire dies, action disappears. Without action, nothing happens. Your dream becomes just another idea that never got a chance to live. So what can you do? First, you must recognize these people for who they are. They are not evil. They are not enemies. But they are not allies either. Not in the pursuit of greatness. They are belief killers, and your mission is to protect your belief from their influence at all costs. Second, you must replace their voices with stronger ones. That may mean spending more time in books, audios, and videos that inspire you. It may mean seeking mentors who've achieved what you want to achieve. It may mean joining a mastermind group, what Hill calls the power source of multiple minds united in harmony, all focused on progress and purpose. And third, you must develop emotional independence. You must train yourself to believe, even when no one else does. Because sometimes, the world won't believe in you until you believe in yourself so loudly, so consistently, that they have no choice but to catch up. Napoleon Hill reminds us that every great achievement began with one person who believed it was possible, before there was any proof. Edison believed in the light bulb after 1,000 failures. Henry Ford believed in the mass production of cars when others laughed. Hill himself believed in the power of thought long before science could validate it. Their success didn't begin with resources. It began with unshakable belief. But here's the secret: they protected that belief. They did not allow others to poison it. They did not keep company with cynics or critics. They chose their environment with intention, knowing that the mind becomes a reflection of its dominant influences. So ask yourself today: who am I giving the power to shape my belief? Who do I allow to speak into my life? Are they lifting me or limiting me? If you want to succeed, you must protect your belief like a treasure, because it is. It's the single most valuable force you possess. Without belief, nothing is possible. With belief, anything is. Choose to walk with believers. Choose to think with visionaries. And choose, every single day, to feed your faith, not your fear. Because the people you associate with are either building your dreams or burying them. And when it comes to belief, the stakes couldn't be higher. The people who waste your time. Time is the one asset you can never earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can fail and recover. But time, once it is spent, is gone forever. Napoleon Hill understood this better than most. In Think and Grow Rich, he emphasizes the power of definiteness of purpose, the ability to focus your energy and attention on a single, clear objective. But here's the challenge: even the most driven individuals can be derailed, not by their enemies, not by their failures, but by the people who waste their time. These people are subtle. They may not criticize you. They may not spread fear. But they are just as dangerous, because they consume your most limited resource, your focus. They invite you into distractions. They pull you into drama. They ask for your attention, but offer you no growth, no value, no direction. Hill wrote, "Tell me how you use your time and how you spend your money, and I will tell you where and what you will be in 10 years. So let me ask you today, who is eating your time? Are you surrounded by people who challenge your thinking or just want to chat endlessly? Are your conversations about vision and creation or gossip and complaints? Do your relationships sharpen your focus or scatter it? The people who waste your time aren't always obvious. They might be fun. They might be friendly. They might even be family. But if you're spending hours in meaningless conversations, caught in emotional drama, responding to every call, message, and invitation, they are robbing you of the one thing you cannot afford to lose: momentum." Napoleon Hill warned us about drifting. He called it the condition of aimlessness. The drifter is someone without purpose, without direction, and without discipline. But often, people don't drift alone. They drift in groups. They cluster together in comfort zones. And the moment you try to rise above that level, they pull you back, not with hostility, but with invitations to waste time. Let's hang out. Let's kill some time. Why are you always so busy? They don't say it with bad intentions. But they don't understand that your time is your life. Every hour you spend with people who have no direction is an hour you could have invested in your vision. Every minute lost to gossip, scrolling, complaining, or passive conversation is a minute you could have used to learn, to build, to grow. And here's the deeper danger: the more time you waste with time wasters, the more you become like them. As Hill puts it, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that includes how they think, how they act, and how they spend their time. So what's the solution? You must become ruthless with your environment. That doesn't mean cutting people off without compassion. It doesn't mean isolating yourself in arrogance. But it does mean being intentional, because success is not just about what you do, but about what you say no to. You must learn to say, "No, I'm working on something important right now. No, I can't make time for that today. No, I don't have energy for that conversation." At first, people won't like it. They may not understand. But that's okay, because you are not here to please everyone. You are here to fulfill your purpose. And those who respect that purpose, those are the people worth keeping close. Surround yourself with the focused. Spend time with the driven. Talk with those who want to create, not just consume. As Napoleon Hill emphasized, time is the currency of achievement. Use it wisely. Protect it fiercely. Invest it intentionally. Because the clock does not wait for anyone. And success does not come to those who waste hours on distractions, indulgences, and indecision. It comes to those who guard their time as if it were gold. Because it is. So as you move forward on your journey, remember: beware the people who waste your time. They may seem harmless. But in truth, they are the greatest thieves of all. Choose your company, choose your future. Success is not an accident. It is not luck. It is not reserved for the chosen few. Success is a result, a direct outcome of the thoughts we think, the choices we make, and just as importantly, the people we surround ourselves with. As Napoleon Hill taught, every great achievement begins in the mind. But that mind is constantly shaped by influence, by suggestion, or by association. You are not just the product of your habits. You are the product of your environment. And that's why who you choose to associate with is not a casual decision. It is a defining one. Oh, you can choose to guard your mind. You can choose to walk with those who challenge you, believe in you, and push you toward growth. You can choose to protect your environment like you protect your dream, because they are one and the same. So today, make a decision, not just to chase success, but to create the conditions for it to grow. That means letting go of toxic associations. It means rising above mediocrity. It means being brave enough to walk alone until you find those who are walking forward. Success is not about avoiding people, it's about aligning with the right people. Because when you walk with the inspired, you become inspired. When you walk with the disciplined, you become focused.